and welcome to tonight's security update. In the last 24 hours, the Nigerian army has carried out a series of coordinated military operations across three states, Taraba, Kogi, and Rivers, eliminating 2 terrorists, rescuing 4 kidnapped civilians, and foiling a direct attack on a major pipeline. Tonight, we bring you the full details of each operation, their locations, what was recovered, and what these developments mean for Nigeria's ongoing security situation. Stay with us. We begin in Taraba State, in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Troops of the 93 Battalion, deployed at Akati in the Donga local government area of Taraba State, engaged suspected terrorists in a forested area, killing 2 of them. According to the operational update made available to the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, on Tuesday in Abuja, the engagement was part of active patrol operations in the area, which has seen increased terrorist activity in recent months. Items recovered from the scene include an AK-47 rifle, ammunition, magazines, mobile phones, and other personal effects. The recovery of weapons and communications equipment is significant. Mobile phones recovered from eliminated terrorists often provide intelligence leads, contacts, location data, and communication patterns that help the military map wider terrorist networks operating in the region. Taraba State has been under sustained security pressure from armed groups operating along its borders with Benue and across its forested Middle Belt terrain. Tonight's operation is part of ongoing efforts to deny these groups safe haven in the state's rural and forested areas. The 2 terrorists eliminated in Donga will not be returning. But the broader question that analysts continue to raise is whether kinetic operations alone, eliminating individuals, are sufficient to dismantle the organizational structures that continue to recruit and replenish armed groups across the region. That is a question for policymakers. Tonight, the soldiers of 93 Battalion did their job. We move now to Kogi State, in Nigeria's north-central zone, a state that has become one of the most dangerous road corridors in the country for travelers and commuters. Troops of the 21 Battalion, in collaboration with vigilantes, rescued 4 kidnapped passengers along the Anyigba-Itobe Road in Ofu local government area. The details of how the rescue unfolded are both dramatic and telling. The victims were reportedly abandoned by their captors while attempting to cross a seasonal stream due to sustained pressure from advancing troops. Let us pause on that detail for a moment. The kidnappers did not release these victims out of mercy. They abandoned them because they were running. The coordinated advance of troops and local vigilantes put enough pressure on the abductors that escape became more urgent than the ransom they were holding those 4 people for. This is a pattern that Nigerian security forces have used with increasing effectiveness. Not always a direct confrontation, but a sustained tactical advance that forces kidnappers to make a choice between their victims and their own survival. In this case, the victims were saved. The collaboration between the 21 Battalion and local vigilantes also deserves attention. Vigilante groups in Kogi and across Nigeria's Middle Belt have, in recent years, become a critical intelligence layer for the military. They know the terrain, they know the local routes, they know the seasonal streams and bush paths that armed groups use to move and hide. That local knowledge, combined with the firepower and coordination of a military battalion is what produced a successful rescue on the Anyigba Itobe road tonight. 4 people who woke up this morning as hostages will sleep the night in their homes. That is the result that matters most. The third and arguably most economically significant operation in the last 24 hours took place in Rivers State, in Nigeria's oil-producing South-South region. Nigerian army troops stationed in Rivers State successfully foiled a direct attack on a pipeline in the state. The details of the specific pipeline targeted and the identities of those responsible have not been fully disclosed in tonight's operational briefing, which is standard practice during active security operations. What is not standard is the timing. Nigeria is, as many of you will know from our recent coverage, in the middle of one of the most consequential periods in its energy history. The Dangote refinery is now supplying over 72% of Nigeria's domestic petrol needs. The country has just become a net exporter of refined petroleum for the first time in 66 years. Every barrel of crude oil that flows safely through Nigeria's pipelines is now more valuable, not just in Naira terms, but in terms of national energy security and the country's new export standing. An attack on pipeline infrastructure at this moment would not be a local incident. It would be a direct strike at Nigeria's economic recovery. Tonight, that attack was stopped. The Nigerian army has not yet released the full details of how the operation was conducted, how many individuals were involved in the attempted attack, or whether any arrests were made. We will bring you updates as they become available. What is confirmed is that the pipeline is intact and the attack was neutralized. Tonight's 3 operations do not exist in isolation. They are part of a broader, intensifying military campaign across multiple theaters of operation. Earlier in the year, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, confirmed that troops of Operation Hadin Kai ambushed terrorists at a crossing point in Gwoza LGA of Borno State, intercepted a group of terrorists on motorcycles, and forced them to abandon weapons and ammunition. Just 2 days ago, troops of Operation Hadin Kai rescued 92 civilians who had been kidnapped by suspected Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists along the Buratai-Kamuya Road in Biu local government area of Borno State. That single operation, 92 people brought home, was one of the largest single rescue operations reported this year. The picture that emerges is of a Nigerian military that is operationally active across at least 6 theaters simultaneously, from Borno and Taraba in the northeast to Zamfara and Katsina in the northwest, through the Middle Belt states of Kogi and Kwara, and down into the pipeline corridors of Rivers State in the south-south. That level of simultaneous operational tempo places enormous strain on personnel, logistics, and intelligence resources. And it is why the collaboration with local vigilante groups, as seen in tonight's Kogi rescue, has become not just useful but essential. Tonight's operational report from the Nigerian Army covers 3 states and 3 different categories of threat: terrorism, kidnapping, and economic sabotage through the pipeline attacks. In each case, Nigerian troops responded, and in each case, the outcome was one that protected Nigerian lives and Nigerian infrastructure. That deserves to be said clearly and without political coloring, but it also deserves honest context. 2 terrorists eliminated in Taraba does not end terrorism in Taraba. 4 kidnapped victims rescued on the Anigba-Itobe road does not make that road safe for the millions of Nigerians who must travel it every week. A foiled pipeline attack in Rivers does not eliminate the networks that planned it. Security in Nigeria will not be won in 24-hour operational updates. It will be won, if it is won, through sustained investment in intelligence, in community engagement, in economic opportunity for the young men being recruited into these groups, and in a military that is properly funded, properly equipped, and properly supported by civilian authorities. Tonight, the Nigerian army delivered results. The question for tomorrow and for every day after is whether the broader system that surrounds those soldiers is giving them and the Nigerian people everything they need to finish the job. This has been your Security News Update. We will continue to track and report on all military operations as information becomes available. Stay safe. Share this report with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to stay ahead of every development. Good night.